Good evening, squaddies. Hello, Football Nation. Hola to the Arsenal universe and beyond. The season might be coming to an end, but the Highbury squad, well, we just keep going. Here is another week of wonderful content. Let's go. Okay, so joining me on tonight's show is my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Oh, how are you, Soph? Do you have a nice weekend?
I'm good. Were your ears burning yesterday evening-ish somewhere in the north of England? Because
my ears are always burning.
Are they burning?
Always.
Because I did a show on the Gooners pod with Magic Mike, and there was Potsy, Tom Canton from Gooner Talk TV, Lee Judges, myself. Am I missing someone? I don't think so. And we were waxing lyrical about you. There was a segment in the show where we just went Kevin Campbell on everybody. So I was wondering if your ears, yeah.
So that's what it was.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Well, but don't forget, I was working yesterday, so I'm not sure what time was it on.
So we went. It was 8 o'clock. So you were doing the Madrid game.
Yeah, I was. We actually covered the Barcelona game. Weirdly enough, and that went pear-shaped for Barcelona.
Oh my gosh!
Because they all kicked off at the same time. So as opposed to choosing one Madrid over the other, they decided to do the Barcelona game to see if they could just keep in.
It's crazy.
And they ended up losing 2-1 at home. It was ridiculous.
Crazy. I mean, it's crazy what's happening. And thank you to the squaddy that reminded me, Danny from a Bergkamp Wonderland, the legend that is amazing. And it's funny because, Kev, we were talking about a lot of different things. It wasn't even a show about football. It was about like finding out more about each other. Mm-hmm. And Danny, as you know, from a Bergkamp Wonderland, he's helped a lot of people, Big time. In the podcast universe. He's just such a great human being and stuff like that. And then you came up, and I'm just going to have Magic Mike send you the clip. In fact, there's a little surprise coming at the end of the show today because we've got an announcement to make about our Thursday show, squaddies. So stay tuned. Magic Mike from the Gooners pod will be joining us at the very end of the show for that announcement. In the meantime, Kev, my goodness, it's at that point, the end of the season. What a season. Crazy times, a crazy year we've lived in. And yet here we are to live to tell the tale. And it's all coming out now, isn't it? So my Monday Madness top 5 for you is a lot to do with all of the players that want to jump off the Arsenal Titanic, Kevin.
Bow! Woo! I love it. I can't wait. Let's go. Let's get into it.
Let's start off with the biggest iceberg of the season, and that is Willian. Mm-hmm. In my mind, when I hear he wants to leave Arsenal, I'm like, how dare you? How dare you actually say out loud, do you want to leave our club? Which, by the way, none of us are crying any tears over it, Kev. But at the same time, you have been given an incredible contract. Mm-hmm. You haven't shown up. Even Arteta, bless him, who I've not been a fan of, as you know, when you score that free kick against West Brom, Arteta literally looks at you to say, "Va fa Napoli." Like, now you're going to do this for me? Now you're going to...
It's a bit late, basically.
It's a bit late, right?
It's a bit late.
And so I think it's cheap of him. It's cheap of him. It's cheap to hear that he wants to leave the club. I wish the story was, we're going to get rid of him. He doesn't even deserve that moment to say, I want to leave the club. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Top 5 talking point number 1, Kev, is, has this been the most disastrous transfer in Arsenal history?
No. No, it hasn't.
Really?
It hasn't worked. Yeah, it is.
All that build-up and your answer.
Yeah. And no, it isn't. It isn't the worst. We've had some shockers at Arsenal. Let's be honest, we've had some shockers at Arsenal. Listen, Willian, it hasn't worked out. for Willian, and it's the sign of the times at Arsenal right now, Sophie. The fact is, there is a lot of players who that badge is too heavy for, and I'm sure we're going to get into a lot of players. We've said it all along. It just hasn't happened for Willian, and at one stage I think he was the highest assist in our team. Not saying that that's enough, by the way, because it isn't enough. He's got to be adding a lot more than that, just the assist. We need goals as well. But again, it hasn't worked out. The fact of the matter is, he got the jump on the club by saying what he's saying, because it could have been the club who said that. You know what I mean? That he's leaving, but he comes out with it, so we kind of got the jump on the club. So fair enough. I accept it. It hasn't worked out. Hey, we cut our losses and we move on. That's simple. Again, so I do like to protect players now and again, but
maybe not this one.
But when it's like this, no, there's no protecting. He's had a stinker. Let's be honest. So
yeah,
that's life.
He's had an absolute stinker. He's definitely. I'm trying to think, and squaddies, jump in here in the chat. Who's a worse signing than him? I'm trying to think who's been an absolute bust for us, who came with so much promise and didn't deliver. And it's not about the signings over the last few seasons in terms of trying to.
He came for no transfer fee. I know the contract's big, but
yeah, it's a big wage.
Yeah,
big wage.
But he's come for no transfer fee. Okay, now I believe there's been a lot of players who have come into the club. Mkhitaryan's one of them. Who?
Yeah, they're putting that up now.
Big, massive resume, but it never quite worked out. And it happens with some of these players; it doesn't quite work out.
Even your Toffee, Franny Jeffers came with such big hope, didn't he?
Yeah, but again, the Franny Jeffers one. Franny he was a baby when he came to Arsenal.
Yeah.
And when you come to Arsenal as a baby, they spend good money on you. The problem is, Wenger wanted the fox in the box. Franny Jeffers was learning his trade. I'd worked with him for one and a bit seasons. That's not enough.
Did he have the instincts, Kev? Was he instinctive?
He had the instincts. But the problem is, Soph, look who he's up against in the Arsenal team. You got Bergkamp, right? You got Henry was there at the time, I think, or Anelka was there. You've got incredible players. Wiltor, you've got quality players there. You have to hit the ground running. Jeffers was too young. Remember, he's coming from Everton, which were a huge club, but had seen tough times. And that's the reason why he got into the team, because they were going through a difficult time. So to move from Everton and go to Arsenal, the level goes boom. And you expected this again. When you wear that badge, you've got to be there. You've got to be there. And unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. But I think there's quite a few players kind of on the periphery who we could say didn't quite work out. But obviously, the fact of the matter is, Willian was at Chelsea and we've seen him do well for Chelsea.
Yeah.
And we expected him to do that for us and he didn't.
No, he didn't. And some of the names coming up were Silvestre. Actually, you just did a show with Silvestre on
Saturday.
Saturday, right? He's a good guy.
Lovely guy, yeah.
Again, another kind of, bad transfer. Wasn't his fault. Wasn't the club's fault. Just something that just didn't work out. Every transfer is a risk. Super Kev. Some people also talking about Baptista, obviously Franny Jeffers, Schillaci, but I'm talking about big names coming, guys. Like Richard Wright wasn't a big name, but Richard Wright was definitely someone we felt could come in and step in. And I think the other name is that he didn't win. He didn't win the Tony Adams shirt, but someone did, and we'll announce that a bit later. But Mustafi was definitely someone that came, and a lot of people have put that in there too because of the German pedigree.
World Cup, the World Cup winning German player, and we're thinking, yeah, he's going to come in and stiffen us up at the back, like make us solid.
Yeah,
he cost us. He cost us.
Okay, so let's talk about this jumping from the Arsenal Titanic, which is the theme of the evening. Willian wants out. Let him go. Where is he going to go? I can tell you something. According to my sources here, it is not going to be LA Galaxy. And the quote was, and I will not reveal the source, but it was, I would love to do that deal, but we can't do that deal, and that deal's not happening. So if there's a link to him and MLS, it's definitely not with LA Galaxy for now, Kev, because we know how those things do change. They've mentioned Inter Miami. I don't see how that deal's going to happen because they don't have any DPs, any DP slots available. In fact, they had to send one of their... They signed someone for $6 million. They got into a pickle with their DPs, and they had to send the guy to the USL and buy out some of the contract. David Beckham, not like him to make bad business like that. But again, it just shows you Beckham's a smart guy, but whoever's doing the business deals underneath him, they screwed up there. So if Inter Miami want to make a move, they've got to make big moves. They've got Gonzalo Higuain, his brother. I don't see them getting rid of either one of those. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Willian.
I reckon someone will make a move.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's the best interest. It's in the best interest of the club. Also, Kev, can you tell me, as much as he's had support from Edu and from Arteta this season, are they allowing him to say he wants to leave versus us? Are they giving him that respect? Kev, you've been in that room before where you're like, just let me be the one that says I'm leaving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think as a football club, the Arteta and Edu have to get ruthless now. And the fact of the matter is, it hasn't worked out. So if they're leaving it down to the player to say it, I don't think that's terrible. You know, it's fair enough if the player is a respected player. He's a very experienced player. So he allowing him to say it's fine. But I think we're more interested in who comes in.
Correct.
You know, fair enough.
Kev, what are we going to get for him?
No, we're not getting anything. We're not getting anything for him. What we need is him off the wage bill, because we're going to have to move and shake, and we're going to have to work smart. Now, I believe he's on a fair whack, which is understandable. Get him out, and then there are a lot of players out there who Arsenal could do business with. But we need that room on the wage bill.
Yeah, because look, the truth is, like Kev said, he came in on a free. We paid him 6 figures, north of 275 it is. Getting that kind of money off the wage bill, whether you splice it and give it, to players that are already there, or it's a new signing, clearly there's a lot of work that needs to get done. And I would say point number 1 on this Monday Madness here on Highbury Squad, there is nobody that's going to disagree with the fact that the best interest of the club and the player is that he goes. And however that happens and however we make that happen is the most important thing. Right. This one I'm a little bit surprised at. Another player that wants to jump off the Arsenal Titanic.
Can I guess which one you're going to mention?
Go on.
Does he wear gloves?
My brother from another mother.
Get out! I broke the neck. Get out! If you want to listen, let me tell you something. If that badge is too heavy, get out. Because you know what, Soph? I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times on air. From the outside looking in, it's all beautiful at Arsenal. But when you're on the inside and that badge, and the fans start kicking off and things are going wrong, and then you start making mistakes, that's when you see the characters come to the fore. But wanting to jump ship, tell the weak man.
Kev, you've put it so brilliantly, because for the last 2 seasons, he's all right. Everything's gravy, right?
Everything going nice.
All nice. You find out the most about who you work with, your family, your friends, when adversity comes. Who are you? How are you going to overcome it? Where are you going to go? Who do you want to be?
Do you know what, Soph? That's when
always rolling up the sleeves now, everyone.
That's when we find out who is up for the fight. Who is up for the fight? Leno beat out Martinez just because they paid money for him.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, Martinez was at the club a long time. He gets his chance. He does brilliantly. Win a trophy. Leno gets the nod. And look now. And I'm not saying Leno's been crap. Leno has had couple of good seasons. But you see, when things go wrong, this is when you find out who's willing to roll them up. Who can the fans look at and say, listen, I'm the number 1 keeper. I've been crap this season. I haven't been good enough. But you know what? I ain't going anywhere.
Exactly.
I'm not going anywhere. All of a sudden, yeah, I wouldn't mind a trip back to the go. I'm broken. Get out.
Yeah.
Because you're not Arsenal material. You're not strong enough.
And the juxtaposition to this is, Kev, is the argument for the last season has been, did we let the wrong goalkeeper go? I think in our heart of hearts, we all know statistically, Leno's had a better season than Martinez. Mm-hmm. Aesthetically, on the eye, Martinez looks like he's had the better season because of the way Aston Villa, I think, were playing for the first part of the season. Yeah. But the truth is, Leno statistically has had a better season. But that doesn't mean that we made the best decision for the club. What we did was made the best decision financially for the club at the time. It was a business decision.
It was a business decision. And whether we like it or not, we would have liked to have kept both goalkeepers. Martinez was right. He says, I want to play. I want to play. And if I'm not going to be number 1 here, because I've got designs of being the number 1 for Argentina, I've got to go somewhere and play. Do you know what? The fact of the matter is, good luck to Martinez. He was a good servant to Arsenal, never kicked up any fuss, came in, helped us win the FA Cup, which was great. Now we're seeing the real Leno. We've seen Leno make some good saves, and we've seen Leno make some errors that cost us games, Sophie.
It's true. And a lot of people in chat are saying, oh, it's just paper talk. And, he said that he doesn't want to flee Arsenal. It was very clear from very good sources a few days ago, whether it was Fabrizio Romano or Ornstein, they named 5 players that want out, and he was one of them. Now, what he's doing is
retracting,
and also more desire for market value, right? Oh, he doesn't want to go. Maybe we can lure him. It works for Arsenal. It works for him. Either way, I don't care. At this point, for me, you've got to be all in or you're all out. For this Arsenal rebuild, for this time, Kevin, for this summer.
100%.
For where we're going, if you have any doubts about whether you want to be here or not, take your doubt and find another iceberg. That's my opinion.
So, how about as one of the senior players, you leave no area of doubt.
Exactly.
No area of doubt. I am staying. I'm the Arsenal number 1. I haven't been good enough this season, but you know what? I'm staying.
Absolutely. And a lot of the squad is now saying it works for him to say, I'm in, I'm out, because it gives him, he's hedging his bets, as Newman says, and some of the other guys say as well. And, You just can't have that, especially in that position, Kev.
The position we're in, no chance.
It's too important. Number one, goalkeeper, right? Number two, we're going to need a new right back. We're probably going to have to bring in another CB. We're going to have to bring in cover for Tierney. Arteta's going to have to figure out what his best back line is going to be. And that goalkeeper is going to be one of the most important players for Arsenal Football Club, and always is and always will be. I mean...
But do you know what, Soph? Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Do you think whoever played at the back was confident in Leno?
No. Not this season, I don't.
I don't think so either. Now, this is the third season he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
He should have that back four, whoever it is, marshaled.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they felt comfortable with him. They looked a lot more comfortable
with Matt Ryan.
With Matt Ryan in.
Yeah. And you know what? You just need a goalkeeper to do his job. Listen, every player, just do your job. But the goalkeeper in particular, keep it to the basics, the fundamentals. Simples. Look at, I'm not saying like Leno's become Kepa, but look what happened with Kepa. Overplaying, overly thinking he's arrived because of his price tag, refuses to come off in a cup final when his manager's trying to sub him. I mean, what is that? Sorry, no. Arteta also has, I think from the flip side of that is Leno has maybe struggled because there's never been a consistent back line. And that has sometimes to do with injuries, and that sometimes has to do with tactical choices and loss of form.
Loss of form and all that. All that I get, but the key is the one constant was the goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, they're on the training pitch. And if as a player, just like in any workplace, if you're confident in your colleague, you move ahead because you know they've got your back.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's players who are a bit uneasy at times.
And also, Kev, to wrap this one up here, you don't need a goalkeeper. You need that goalkeeper to be really good at their job, right?
Competent. Be competent.
You do not need the basics. I'm not saying like if Oblak came, I'd be like this, right? I'd be like that. But if you have someone like Matt Ryan who does his job, the fundamentals, knows his role, where to be, where not to be, positionally sound, knows when to come out, is vocal. You know, he commands the 6-yard box, the entire penalty area in a much more dynamic way than Leno.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's important. I don't think we can be too flashy right now with, are we going to spend 60 million on a goalkeeper? No, because we need that 60 million in other parts of the pitch.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you. We need a competent goalkeeper who does the basics very well. Good with his feet, can save the shots. When the crosses come in, he can catch them, not punch them, catch them. He's brave. That'll do me.
Yeah.
And could communicate. Yeah, that'll do.
Lovely. All right. So we've done Willian. We've done Leno. This one I'm struggling with a little bit for maybe the right and the wrong reasons. Maybe because I've backed him so much. But I also understand that family might come into play with this one. Xhaka. Do you really think he wants to leave? And if so, is he just done with him being like the eye of the storm every single time, Kev? What's your take on Xhaka?
Yeah, for me, I think the jury's out on Xhaka. Many people, they know he's decent, but we need more. We need athleticism. We need somebody more dynamic. But he's done a good job at times this season. I can't say he hasn't. He has done a good job. And he seemed to be the right partner for Thomas Partey in the midfield. Mm-hmm. But here's the truth. Granit Xhaka's been at the club a while now. And every season, we haven't qualified for the Champions League. So,
wow.
with Xhaka, we're not going to qualify for the Champions League. That's what the seasons and the history says. So if you keep playing the same players, expecting a different result, they say that's the sign of madness. So it has to change. It does. It has to change. And we need to be more competitive in the center of the pitch. That means Thomas Partey needs a partner in there who is athletic, dynamic, and you know what, can put himself about. And that one for me is Bissouma.
You've said it all season.
Bissouma is the one for me. Competitive, can get up and down, can score, can defend, and he's not afraid to put a challenge or two in.
Kev, you've said, and Elliot, and a lot, we need Bissouma badly. You've said it over and over and over again. One of the comments in chat here, and I want to try and find it. Matty K, we are running out of leaders. But you've been in teams where you've transitioned, whether you've been made captain or not, and you've become a leader of that team or not. Players come and go. The change of Arsenal, that evolution that we've been talking about, it's not, after 17 years of not winning the Premier League, nothing will happen overnight. But this is an opportunity, is it not, to find new leaders, 100%. New heroes?
Do you know what, Soph? Here's the thing. On paper, we have the talent. But why is it we don't see the performances? It's easy to say, yeah, it's Arteta out. They were not performing under Wenger. They didn't perform at times under Emery. Freddie had a goal. So we're on our fourth manager, okay? Here's the problem. We buy players because of talent. But whenever the chips were down, they went missing. Let's be honest. For years, they went missing. Games were over in the first half at times. And you know what? The one thing I can say that people maybe should look at is Arsenal have beaten, whereas we struggled to beat some of the big teams. We've done the double over Chelsea. We've beaten the likes of Liverpool before. We've beaten United. We beat Chelsea. Not only done the double over Chelsea, we've done them in the cup final. We've done City in the semi. So against the big teams, the team sort of turns up. But it's the Burnleys and the Aston Villas when it's not about talent, because it's about that. It's about rolling the sleeves up, Soph. And when you got to roll the sleeves up, we go missing. We go missing. So when we talk about leaders, signing players who are good at rolling the sleeves up, because we play more games of rolling the sleeves up than we do against the so-called bigger teams. And that's where we've been lacking, and that's why we've been inconsistent.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, you know, Ryan Tillemans, everyone whiffed on him, ended up at Leicester. I mean, these things happen, you know, they happen.
So, N'Golo Kante could have been our general in midfield.
Yeah, we went for Xhaka instead. I mean, it's crazy. It really is when you think about these things. Now, that happens to a lot of teams, Kev. It's not just Arsenal, right, where you whiff on certain players, but we've whiffed on quite a few.
Constant. That's been our problem, because you know what, Soph? We've spent a lot of money.
We have, and I think this is the point that some fans miss, Kev.
Fifth high spenders in the Premier League, fifth, and we haven't got the team to compete. That's not right.
Yeah.
So you could, again, I understand people ain't happy with the ownership and all that kind of thing, but it's not as if we haven't had money to spend. We've spent money, but it's how we've spent it.
And also, dare I say this without wanting to get into another thread of a convo, but the manager's mismanaged it a little bit this season too. He's definitely, yeah, he's definitely mismanaged things this season, and it's cost us. When I was watching the FA Cup the other day, Kev, I'm like, you know what? This season we could have done it again. We could have done it again. And he blew that off way too soon. Way too soon. You're defending the FA Cup. Defend it. You know?
But so here we go again. Because there's 2 games so close together and we struggle with injuries, it just shows our squad ain't strong enough, unfortunately. You know, when you look at the change in Chelsea. Chelsea could choose 2 teams. We can't. If we go into our reserves, we are significantly weaker. It just is, because we're not set up to compete. We play Southampton on the Saturday, we get beat. We play Southampton with our stronger team, we beat them pretty convincingly. That says it all. We're not deep enough.
Yeah. I totally understand. I totally understand that. I do. I mean, it's like our problems are a pie chart, right? You can't blame one person or one thing. It's a culmination of things over a long period of time.
All areas.
And this is where we're at. Good evening to all 250 of you in live chat. Thanks for joining us this Monday. It's the Highbury Squad Monday Madness with the legend that is Super Kev and myself, Sophie. A name that keeps coming up in... Why don't I go through this and then I'll go to the name that's keep coming up. But let's go to name number 4, Kev. For me, this one is definitely a don't let the door hit you on the way out, but not because of the player, not because of the humanitarian, but more of the player that one has become.
Can I guess this one as well?
Read my mind. Go on.
Sophie, Bellerin.
Oh!
I think he's been at the club long enough now. He's regressed. He did have a serious injury, and I just think the Premier League is getting better and can expose his lack of defensive quality. And I think he got exposed quite a bit this season. That's the way it goes. He's a great humanitarian. He's a nice guy. But do you know what, Sophie? I want somebody, my right back, I want him to put the left winger in the stand. I don't care.
Yeah.
I want a nasty piece of work on the pitch.
Yeah. You know how nasty Dani Alves used to be? What a nasty piece of work, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And you know, I'm not a fan of Gary Neville, but nasty. He wasn't a great player. He was nasty. Yeah?
Listen, that Man United team, they could mix it about. I'm telling you, you've seen it. They could mix it up.
Kyle Walker, not the most talented, but he works in a system and he has a little bit of an edge to him.
Bit nasty as well. He's got that in him, yes.
And Pep has beautiful players, but he needs a little ugly, right?
Ugly, and you look... Centre mid and fullbacks got the edge, nasty. Had company for years, tough, strong, imposing. But you got that in Diaz now. Even John Stones is adding a bit of that to his game. And Laporte's got that in abundance, getting stuck in, having it with a striker. You need it for all the flair players up front. You need that doggedness in the centre of the pitch and at fullback and across your back line.
And I think because we have that with Tierney on that left side, Kev, and we see it from him, that if we can duplicate that on the right side we're in business and get that partnership in the middle, like what is that partnership going to be? Is it going to be Saliba and Gabriel? Is it going to be Mari?
It has to be. No, if I'm honest, it has to be Saliba. It has to be Saliba, right? He has to join Gabriel. You don't spend the amount of money on these 2 centre halves and not play them. Gabriel's got it in him. We've seen him. It's his first season. And before COVID, he was aggressive. He looked the part, didn't he? He looked the part. Player of the month for 3 months in a row. Got COVID and kind of lost his way a little bit, which can happen. He's still learning. But I think you spend nearly 30 million on Saliba, and he spent 20 odd million on Gabriel, they're your two centre halves, and they're young enough to be your centre half pairing for years.
And I think with Gabriel, someone said as well, he has a little nasty in him. I agree. I think next season it will be a coming of age season for him, right? Mm-hmm. He came in guns blazing, did great. Unfortunately contracted COVID, has not really recovered very well and been the same player. But with to give him some credit, Kev, he's also Holding's not the best partner for him. He's just not.
No.
Okay. And we love Bob. We love Holdinho. He's a good kid. He's a good squad player.
He's an honest player.
He's a very honest player.
He's an honest player.
But
he's not a starter.
He can't play with a Gabriel. He plays better with Amari. And I've compared the Mertesacker thing because of the intelligence side. Positionally, they help him. They're more experienced. Whereas a Gabriel and a Saliba, I think, create chaos in a good way.
And the athleticism could get them out of trouble.
Yes.
That's the other thing.
Yeah. And so, if you've got at right back, I mean, I don't think we're going to get a Hakimi, but if we're
Emerson at Betis, I'm telling you now.
Is that a doable deal, Kev?
It's a doable deal. I'm telling you. That guy is up and down, that Brazilian, up and down that right-hand side. Attack, can defend. He's big, he's strong, he's quick, he's aggressive. Listen, I see him quite a bit, and I'm like, I'd love to see him at Arsenal.
Yeah, he'd be great. Well, look, I think we all agree Emerson is an animal. Everyone's getting into it as well. They're getting it. The squaddies are kind of... giving their bits and bobs on here. It's true. You don't invest that much in Saliba, send him out for a whole year to be the superstar for Nice and do really well in Liga again and not bring him back and have some type of plan. When I was watching, I couldn't help it, Kev, but when I was watching the FA Cup, I was thinking, wow, look at Fofana. By default, he gets a slot because of injury, right? He nails his place down. Rodgers has done a great job with him this season at Leicester. He's won the FA Cup. It's a very different situation, I know, for Saliba, but just to see the trajectory of the two when they came into the league at the same time, they were partners at their old club in Liga. It just made me feel like, could he have managed him better? Could he have done anything better? Seeing how Rodgers managed Fofana, who supposedly is the less talented, talented too.
Yeah, I mean, look, different clubs look at things differently. Arsenal are different to Leicester, whether we like it or not. Arsenal are, and to be fair to the manager, look, he'd gone through some heartache, obviously losing his mother, etc. But go on, Vespa and Vinny and Vespa, go on. And see, as soon as you start mentioning it, they know.
They went for it, Kev. They went for it.
Yeah, man. As far as I'm concerned, Mikel Arteta hadn't seen enough of him. There's players there who he spent quite a bit of money on. And he just, as far as I'm concerned, go and get half a season playing football in France. Go and play. And then when you come back, it's your time. It's definitely your time. And Saliba is, by all intents and purposes, has been outstanding. He's been outstanding.
And Kev, Soyuncu as well is one that got away from a lot of people. Johnny Evans, do you remember when Arsenal fans didn't want Johnny Evans at the Arsenal?
100%. Yeah.
Snobbery.
Turned their nose up.
Unbelievable. So I hope, because it's happening with Ryan Bertrand right now. Arsenal fans who don't want us to sign him, what is your problem? Why? He's not going to be like the main man.
He's not the starter. He's the backup.
No, he's the backup. And I'm sorry, but if you don't want us to sign him, then you don't care about the club, because you know why? Tierney's going to be injured 2 or 3 times a season. He might be out for a couple weeks, a month, but the trajectory of what we've seen of Tierney, God forbid, touch wood, I hope it's not the case, but you have to have a plan B for that, Kev.
Yeah.
And why not get a player? And why not get a player, Kev, who's played in the league, who knows what it means to be a Premier League player? Why not?
Could slot in there nice and easy, no problem.
So I don't understand why folks wouldn't want that. Okay. I froze in time apparently. But that was, I'm here. I'm not frozen. But I could sing the song from Frozen, but you guys would probably leave the show immediately. Kev, the fifth guy on my list is maybe going to create a bit of a polarizing discussion. Because I'm not including Guendouzi and Torreira and some of these other players who look like they might be moved on. Mavropanos we don't know about yet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Willock is the other player that is on this list. And I think sometimes at Arsenal we get caught up in the romance of things. We want Reece Nelson to be brilliant. We want Willock to be brilliant. Xhaka. We want all the Highland boys to succeed, stay at the club. There's a romanticism about that. And now, because Willock has gone off to Newcastle and he's shining, everyone's like, wow, look at Arteta. He's made a mistake. Look where our season has ended up. Meanwhile, he's off at Newcastle doing X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. But shining in a really good team is hard. Shining in a really bad team, I'm not going to say is easy, but it's easier, right? I think the market value for Willock is so high right now. We do not make the same mistake we did with Maitland-Niles and Wolves. What's your take on the Willock situation?
Yeah, look, I think Willock has done great being on loan, and he's upped his fees. He's upped his transfer marketability 100%. For me, I think Willock has got something, but whether we are in the position to actually realize that, I don't think we are. I think there's a lot more pressure at Arsenal. And because he's come through the ranks at Arsenal, again, that badge is heavy. And with it comes a lot of scrutiny, comes a lot of pressure. And we've seen Willock have chances now and again. And we know he's got talent, but what he's shown at Newcastle, he never shown it for Arsenal, really, in the league. We've seen it sometimes in the Europa,
cups. In the Europa, yeah.
And in the cups and all that. But really, you're playing against second string, maybe. Mm-hmm. But when you get in the first team, when you're playing against the best of the opposition, the best of the best, we haven't really seen him do it. And that's proven to be difficult for him at Arsenal.
I agree.
So you can cash in. You get top dollar for him now.
If we don't sell now, we'll lose. You know what it's like. You play the stock markets. If you miss the moment, it's finite. Minutes, seconds. You've got to cash in when you can. And
good business. It's good business.
It is. And look, Kev, there's certain players, and I respect Chambers for doing what he's done when he's given the opportunity to come back into the team. I respect the Willocks of the world, like Eddie and Nketiah. These guys have given their life. Arsenal have given their lives and their investment to these kids as well, though. Mm-hmm. But I think in order for Arsenal Football Club to move forward, we're going to have to be exceptionally ruthless in our decision making. And that might be really tough for some fans to hear because they want to see the Highland boys do so well, Kev, and be the stars of the team. But not everyone can be a Xhaka or an ESR. They just can't.
True. And the way football is now, it's very difficult for a group of Highland boys to be all the stars of the team unless they hit the ground running. Xhaka came in, done okay, and now he's the star of this team. Emile Smith-Rowe, done well certain times, hasn't done so well certain times, but we see enough progress in him. Mm-hmm. Don't we? We see enough from him to say, yeah, he just needs to get stronger, get a pre-season in him and he's going to be fine. Reece Nelson, we've seen him have good games. We've seen him not do so well. The same for Willock.
Exactly.
Again, it's like if you cash in and then you can go out and get somebody who is a proven player.
Yeah.
then you're not just relying on potential.
And Kev, you've been around the game long enough where you've been, the young man in the squad and then the senior player in the squad, and you see players that come in and have an immediate impact, and you just know their quality. Mm-hmm. And Arsenal, I think, have had good quality, but it's not killer instinct enough. It's not that level enough to move it to the next level over a period of years and years and years. It's just not, Sophie, and Eddie Nketiah is the same for me. Go on, Kev.
Yeah. Sophie, what I will say is this, and for anybody listening, please have a listen. When you are playing lesser players, it is easier for you to use your talent. When you are playing the first teams of each team in the Premier League, it is hard. You're playing against the best. Mm-hmm. And you got to remember, it's not just the best in the Premiership anymore. It's the best players from around the world because it's an international league now. Mm-hmm. There's international players on all the squads. So to be in the first team of these teams, you're playing against quality.
And Kev, you have to do it week after week after week.
Our problem has been consistency, okay? Mm-hmm. On paper, our squad says we should be a lot more consistent. But the issue is, Sophie, I keep saying it, and people sometimes go crazy when I say it. The players cross the white line. That's where they have to be consistent. We're not consistent when we cross the white line. Against the Burnleys, against the Southampton at home, against the Aston Villa at home. What were them performances? You know what I mean? Where were rolling our sleeves up and getting stuck into them first and then letting the talent do the business? No, we rely too much on, we're the Arsenal, we're talented. No, the opposition come and shut you down. Mm-hmm. They don't let you play. And when they don't let you play, it becomes a fight and we end up losing, especially this season.
Yeah. Well, look, this is correct, SD. Wait, I'm SD. You're SD. But you're right. We need intelligent footballers. And we have lacked that. We also need players with pace. We need to play faster. Agree. And Kevin, some of that is to do with the manager and how he plays as well. And we just need to be smarter, better. We need players who
on that point. So
yeah,
we've seen this team play quick. We've seen them do it.
Yeah.
When we played Spurs, especially Spurs at home, remember we battered them for 80 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes we got a little bit nervous, but we held on. But we played very well. So the team can do it. Our problem is the consistency of this team. We don't know, and this is the problem. We don't know what we're going to get when they cross that white line. We don't know what Arsenal's going to turn up. And that is a major problem because on paper, we look at it and we think, yeah, we should beat these.
You know what? This is why for me, I don't know if you agree with me here, but I know you agree with me, but this is why a Basuma, a Bertrand, and don't shoot me. Everyone's saying like 30 another bust. Don't compare everyone to Willian. Not everyone's a Willian signing. Those things don't happen all the time. It just happened to us this time, right? Bertrand has been a good servant to Southampton. He's played in the Premier League. And there are other clubs, by the way, that are interested in signing him for the same reasons we are. A Basuma played in the Premier League, understands it. More proven Premier League players, Kevin, in order to understand what it means week in, week out to play in this league. They don't need a baptism of fire. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't. And Willian was that player, but he just came at the wrong time. Everything. He was never happy coming to Arsenal. You know what? People talk a lot about this. His talent never died. He just died coming to Arsenal from Chelsea. He never wanted to be there. He's never waxed lyrical about Arsenal. He's always talked about how it was sad to leave Chelsea. It was one of the worst signings ever because of all of those reasons. But that can't deter us from going back into the well and signing players from other Premier League clubs that will help us build a squad, a strong squad, physically, mentally, and all the other reasons. And if Arteta is unable to pull that together, we're going to know. We'll know.
If Arteta can't do it, he'll be gone.
He'll be gone. And he will deserve to be gone.
And of that, you can guarantee.
Absolutely. And we'll know by late September, October, we'll know. Okay, you're listening to Monday Madness, the top 5. I just wanted to buzz through those players. We'll get to a lot of other transfer news and a lot of other stuff. It's a long summer, Gooners. Let's just hold the mayo and the mustard. There's a lot to marinate before we jump in and say we're signing this person and that person. There's so many stories about everything. We're going to tackle it all. We've got Elliot from Arsenal Vision podcast on tomorrow night to talk a little bit more about what's happening with our club and where we're going to go. On Wednesday, we've got the post-game show with Crystal Palace. So we'll be digging into that a little bit. Maybe some players will get a shot in that game. On Friday, we've got Super Kevin Campbell for Kevin Says. And on Thursday, we've got a very special show for you. And to help me announce our Thursday show is a very good friend. Is Kev?
Magic!
Do you know what you started with the Magic Mike thing, Super Kev?
Listen, Magic Mike's magic, man. He's a magic man.
Kevin, you have given me the ability to take a name that sounds so conceited and self-important and pretentious. And if anyone ever accuses me of those, I'll be just like, look, when an Arsenal legend gives you a name, you take it, you use it, you give it respect. So I've never had a nickname. I've never had a nickname before that I can say on your show. And so this is I
do like Matty K's version though too, Microwave Mike.
Microwave Mike passed away 2 months ago. So.
Oh God. So how are you, Mike? You all right?
I'm loving life. How about yourselves?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Waxing lyrical here on Monday Madness, doing our thing.
I love waxing anything. Lyrical, legs, especially.
Bikinis in particular.
Do you recognize me, Soph, without my Inside the Podcaster studio?
No, I don't. But Kev's got to watch that episode because let me tell you.
Oh, and the monocle came in last night.
Oh, love it. Captain Birdseye, isn't it? Captain Birdseye.
This is why I labeled you Magic Mike. It's not because of the hot dancing stuff. I mean,
clearly that's not because of that.
It is the best nickname ever. I mean, Kev's come up with quite a few on the show, but Magic Mike. Now we've got Sherlock Mike.
I have these
Mike.
little segments that I do with that I put to the it's magic thing with like ridiculously embarrassing pictures of mine. So yeah, you started something that you can't put back in the bottle now. Kev.
I know, because now we've got Newman talking about waxing legs, and it's just not right. It's just absolutely not right. Ship Ahoy, welcome. So we've got a very special show on Thursday, everybody, and we're going to be doing a lot more of this next season too, collaborating with great podcasts. And Mike and I have been talking,
and ours as well.
Yeah, well, I'm getting there, right?
Well, no, I'm saying great podcast. I hadn't heard about. I just knew that we were going to be collaborating.
So Mike and I have been talking a while about how we can kind of bring a joint show to everybody and do something really special. And because we're both based here in the United States, but what we love about both of our shows is we have a global audience and people that listen to us from all corners of the earth. So on Thursday, the Gooners Pod and the Highbury Squad bring you a very special live show and a Q&A with not only this legend, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell, but also the voice, the host, the woman that has given us comfort with her dulcet tones talking about the Premier League in the United States since NBC got the deal is Miss Rebecca Lowe. And we can't wait, can we, Mike?
Despite being a Palace supporter, I can't imagine a person Arsenal supporters see in their living rooms and bedrooms every week that they could love more than Rebecca Lowe. She is a delight. I can't wait to meet her. And there'll be some other I think surprises for people that are being arranged as well.
I've kept my mouth shut on that one. It's very hard for me to do that, by the way, but I have. I may have told one person.
We'll see. Okay. But yeah, I've wanted to collaborate with you guys, as much as possible, because I feel like you're kind of our kinship as far as how we try to entertain and the topics we try to cover, and not taking ourselves too seriously or constantly just needling into the minute by minute tactics. I mean, it's about the experiences. It's about what it's like to be a Gooner, and for a lot of Americans. And I know Rebecca Lowe has a very established career prior to moving and setting up in the U.S.
Absolutely.
I know, she was with ESPN, with BBC. So this will be a great show. I'm very excited to participate in it. And
I've always wanted to bring Kev and Rebecca together, and it's so our squaddies, I swear to God, sometimes I think they're like Nostradamus, or so should I say Sophstradamus. They're saying stuff in the chat right now that's like, how do you even guess some of these things?
That's because they know what I've got in my locker.
I know. But to have Kev with Rebecca, and it's going to be amazing. You guys run the show. You will run the show. We'll have a couple folks coming in and out in chat from the Arsenal America groups, the Gooner Gals, and everyone. Everyone will get their moment, their time to ask questions. It's going to be all about you, and Mike and I will be your hosts for the evening, and we can't wait. Who knows?
Very much looking forward to
we
that.
might jump off our pod and just jump on yours later, Mike, just for a little Thursday double. What do you think?
That would be a stunt worth doing, I think. That was a brilliant idea, absolutely brill. And but yeah, we might kind of have an intermission followed and a link to go to that. I'm the king of links. I'll make a link like squaddiesgetoverhere.com, and it will go directly into our podcast. Trust me. So
brilliant stuff. Well, look, you got to come join us on Thursday. It's going to be so brilliant. So that's the schedule. Tomorrow's Elliot, Yankee Gunner, Arsenal Vision
Top
podcast.
man.
Wednesday is post Crystal Palace. Thursday is Kevin and Rebecca Lowe for a live fan Q&A. So make sure you get in early on that one. And on Friday, we've got Kevin Says, and that's Mike, where I read all the Jimmy Kimmel style mean tweets to him.
I love that idea, man. I mean, you guys are creative. By the way, tomorrow, just a suggestion as someone who's had Elliot on the pod before, get all your talking in early before you like throw it over to him, because you won't get a word in edgewise once you get started. But that's the beauty of Elliot, though. So,
man, not with this host.
Hopefully, he's got his internet fixed.
Oh my goodness! People who need their internet fixed. Ken's done it. Elliot's next. There's no doubt about that. Oh my gosh. So brilliant stuff. Listen, I know we're going to get into AFC Bell stuff too. I'm starting to.
Can we ask Magic Mike one question?
You can ask him whatever you want, legend.
You know that second question of the 5. Ask Magic Mike. I want to see his take.
Was that the Bellerin one?
No,
the Leno one, because you're Berg Leno, yeah.
Well, first of all, can I just comment on the third one, the Bellerin one? You said, because you've said he's too nice and that we need more ugly players at Arsenal, I'm actually hopping on the plane tomorrow to head over there for a tryout, because I think, how better could you do than that?
Come on, you got a handsome face.
Leno used to be. Leno, I don't believe that. I know that you're saying this kind of he's playing the press and all that. I don't believe that he's really said that he wants to leave. I think that he's probably open to it, and he might have sent some feelers out there. Look, if we replace him with somebody better, I'd be happy to see him go. We let guys go without transfer fees, without value. We squeeze everything out of them. We make them look awful, or they make themselves look awful, and we get nothing back for them. So if a German team or somebody else like that is willing to pay for Leno, I'd be fine moving on. Otherwise, I think it's a little bit overblown.
What's his market? Well, actually, Kev and I have been consistent on this. 3 months ago, we talked about transferring him out, that we would take, 40 million for Leno? We should be taking, am I out of my mind, Kev, on the price?
If we got what we paid for him, he's gone.
His market value, according to Transfer
25.
Market, which is a good gauge for that, is about 25 million right now.
We got 25 million. Thank you very much. If we got 20, I'd get rid of him. I'll be honest with you.
And if we get 20 and get rid of him, that is going to make the whole debate about Emi Martinez and Bernd Leno absolutely explode again.
Mike, it doesn't matter.
Half my time mocking people over there.
Mike, it doesn't matter. Do you know why? Because the key is who we bring in. That's the key.
Yeah.
Would you go with Matty Ryan as your number one, or do you? Or
We can do, but if we go with Matty Ryan, we need somebody just as good to come in. But if you can get a world-class goalkeeper, you do the business. You go and get a world-class goalkeeper.
Yeah. We sell Willock, we sell Leno, and we get Oblak, right, Soph?
I mean, that's Kev's guy. That's it. When Kev says prayers at night, that's one of them in his prayers. There's no doubt about that. Look, I think it's just too important for us, especially if we're going to have a new right back next season. We're going to have a new partnership at centre back in Gabriel and Saliba, maybe Tierney. Hopefully, he can stay injured. If not, there'll be another, someone deputising.
Stay healthy, not injured.
You just said hopefully he can stay injured.
Did I say that? I meant hopefully he can stay not injured. Yes. I mean, look, I've got a puppy. I haven't slept properly in 5 days. On my choice, there was that.
Vespa's doing the business.
What was that I was saying about a host? No, not me. But no, I mean, it could be very precarious, and we have to get off to a good start. And a goalkeeper that wants. I don't want players who are half-assed about being there, Mike. And whether he said it or not, there's so many media outlets that have reported 7 Arsenal players want out. 7.
Look, I'm the king of falling for these rumors, and I mean, I was ready to throw David Luiz off a cliff a few months ago because I thought he was, part of the mole and the clique, and and all the. So I normally believe all that stuff. I'm just playing devil's advocate here on Leno, but sure, if he's not fully committed, that's a problem because goalkeeper position, other than keeping the ball from going into the net, which is kind of important, he also has a lot to do with the 4 that are playing in front of him, you don't want any uncertainty on any of the 5 of their parts about whether they are a unit or not. And this kind of thing can lead to that. So look, I'm all for it if it makes sense.
Here's what I'm all for, Mike. You know what? I'm all for anything. You know why? Because we've been nothing this season.
Yeah.
So
the opposite of whatever we've been doing, the opposite can
exactly
very unlikely be worse.
Right. There's 5 players that are keepers, in essence. And over a period of time, which we saw in January, we're going to see in the summer, we're going to see in January again, we have to evolve this team. We need new, we need fresh, we need bold, we need brave, we need mentally strong. We don't need impotence on this squad at all. We've had it for too long. And we've got to get back into Europe. We've got to be competitive in the Premier League again. So if that means selling our goalkeeper and, rebuilding the team or whatever we need to do, I'm all for it. I'm going to be very open-minded about this summer. I'm not going to kill the business until we see what the business does on the pitch. Good. Because it's Kev said for a long time, right? There's going to be so much more pain before we even get to that point. And I understand more so this season what he means by that. I've not agreed with a lot of it, but in order for us to become who we want to be, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt like waxing, pretty much.
Yeah. And look at the callback there that you just did to the waxing comment.
I mean, I'm surprised you didn't ring the bell.
Well, because that's not really what the bell's for, but that's okay. You got one.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a tweet from December 2019, which I believe was during the massive reign of Freddie Ljungberg as Arsenal manager, where I put a picture up of the Arsenal players from oldest to youngest.
Or am I freezing?
It's probably me. Did I freeze?
Yeah, you froze.
All right, sorry. There's a tweet out there from me where I put the players on the team at the time from oldest to youngest, and I just basically drew a line through age 25 and said, get rid of everybody above here, keep everybody below here. I said, maybe with the possible exception at the time of Aubameyang and Leno. Now, there's no more exceptions of Aubameyang and just keep everyone below that line, get rid of everybody above that line, and make some additions. So it's only just become more and more true as time has gone by.
Totally agree. All right. Listen, that's your lot for today. Before we go, we will. You know what? I have a theory about the AFC, Bill. I think we all do. I think it's Arsenal Football Club. Did I say that out loud? No. I'll throw the key away. It's not Ozil because he's gone. Remember, everyone thought it was Ozil.
Did you read James McNicholas's massive article about
will you send
ITKs?
It to me?
I will. You know who else was in that besides the bell?
Who?
The gerbil.
You? Oh, okay.
So he got pretty far down the Bells rabbit hole, and I don't think it's directly Arsenal Football Club. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
it's indirect, but it's there. Right, Super Kevin Campbell, what would you like the kids to know before we leave this Monday Madness evening?
Hit the like or dislike button. It means the world to us, whether you like it or you don't. Hit it, please.
One person hit thumbs down. I think that happened just as you brought me on.
No, that's all right. Hey, Mike,
don't care.
you know
We don't
what,
care.
Mike? As long as they show whether they like it or they don't, that works with us. Just don't not do anything.
It's like professional wrestling. Like the worst thing you can get is apathy. But you either hate or you like the guy, then then you're in. So
that's right. That's right.
I'm the heel.
Absolutely.
And join us. Join us tomorrow.
Yeah,
Join
definitely.
everybody tomorrow. I won't be with you because I'm working. But
yes,
I can't wait to see you on Dickie Bow Thursday.
It's going to be amazing.
I will have a nice Dickie Bow on for you, Magic.
Maybe I might even try to do that.
No, Magic Mike in a Dickie Bow. I got to see this.
Dickie Bow, tie.
Oh my God! Get the thing, the monocle. Oh my God! With a Dickie Bow, are you seriously? Who is not watching that show? I mean, seriously, who is?
Hopefully, anyone that I know in my personal life will not be watching that show, but everyone else will.
Hey, be careful, Mike. They'll be calling you Captain Pugwash. Behave yourself.
So good. And yes, Mark, I think we can make this happen. It's your turn to say.
Oh, yeah. I noticed in the last one that you mentioned.
I had some failures. As well. Yeah.
Yeah. What was James? James should be able to do that. But
yeah, James should. And Mike from You Are My Arsenal, he deferred. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. No. Yeah. So here you go. Go on.
Too cool.
Take us out.
You ready? All right. Well, remember, guys and ladies and gentlemen and people, always Arsenal. Oh, stop it.